over the next 1 hour and 30 minutes. President Akufo-Addo inaugurates transition team assuring of seamless handover of power. Also coming up, NPP accuses supporters of NDC of targeting its parliamentary candidates in just ended parliamentary and presidential elections. Later, Western Regional Coordinating Council banned selling of vegetables after 8 died in cholera outbreak. And later in business,
Ghana's economy expands by 7.2% in 2024 quarter 3.
All these and more coming up in Eyewitness News. The news is also live across the country on our affiliates in the Western region. We are live on Premier FM 100.5 in Takoradi and Beach 105.5 FM also in Takoradi. If you are listening to us in the Bono region, this is Greener 95.9 FM in Sunyani, Ashanti region. We are live on Orange FM 107.9 in Kumasi. In the Volta region, this is Akpini Radio 96.7 megahertz and Heritage FM 107.3 also in Hohoi in the Volta region. If you are listening to us in the Northern region, this is Dasuma 99.1 FM in Yendi, Word FM 88.3 FM in Zwarugu in the Upper East region, Westlink 88.1 FM in Laura in the Upper West region, Northeast region. This is Eagle FM 94.1 in Walewale and Ahafo region. We are live on Hammers Radio 106.5 FM in Go, so you can join the conversation by sending us your messages. But let's first go to our first story, which has to do with post-election related activities. Today we know that President Akufo-Addo has inaugurated the joint transition team to ensure a seamless handover of power. What more do we know?
President Nana Akufo-Addo has called on members of the joint transitional team to approach the process with mutual respect, collaboration and transparency. He stressed that the interests of Ghanaians should be prioritized during this critical phase. In his address at the inaugural ceremony of the transitional team, President Akufo-Addo highlighted that the transition is an important continuation of the country's democratic journey.
President Akufo-Addo, we are trying to bring you that voice from President Akufo-Addo, who today inaugurated the transition team. He's been calling on members of the joint team to approach the process with mutual respect, collaboration and transparency. Let's hear from President Akufo-Addo.
I welcome all of you to this inaugural meeting, which marks a significant step in our democratic process. The smooth transfer of power from one administration to another. This meeting and the processes we're about to undertake are firmly grounded in the Presidential Act of 2012, Act 845, which provides the legal framework for an orderly and transparent transition. The just ended presidential and parliamentary elections have once again reaffirmed the will of the Ghanaian people. On behalf of the government and people of Ghana, I extend warm congratulations to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama on his decisive election as the next President of the Republic. I also warmly congratulate Professor Nana Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman, who has made history by becoming Ghana's first female Vice President-elect. A pioneering achievement that underscores the strides our nation is making toward gender equality and inclusivity in governance. I'd like to assure both of them of the full support of my government and myself for an effective transition, and wish them luck and God's blessings in the discharge of their high responsibilities. Ladies and gentlemen, the peaceful transition of power is a hallmark of mature democracies. Fortunately for us in Ghana, the foresight of the Fifth Parliament of the Fourth Republic has, with the adoption of the Presidential Transition Act 2012, Act 845, established for us a robust framework for managing transitions, safeguarding the gains of our democratic journey. Today, we reaffirm our collective resolve to adhere to the letter and spirit of this act and ensure that this transition proceeds seamlessly, transparently, and with dignity. The composition of this transition team is thus in full conformity and accord with the Presidential Transition Act, with the composition of the President's team comprising the Chief of Staff at the Office of the President, the Honorable Akusia Fremont Perry, who will serve as the alternate co-chair of the committee in my absence, the Attorney General Godfrey Ebuadame, the Minister for Presidential Affairs, Honorable Osei Mensah Bunsu, the Minister for Finance, the Honorable Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam, the Minister for the Interior, Honorable Henry Quarte, the Minister for Defense, the Honorable Dominic Nitiwo, the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Honorable Shirley Ayoko Buche, the Minister for Local Government, Honorable Martin Ajay Mensah Kosa, and the Minister for National Security, Honorable Ken Dapa. In accordance with the Act, there are also 4 ex officio members, namely the Head of Civil Service, Dr. Evans Agri Daku, the Head of the Local Government Service, Dr. Nana Atu Arthur, the Secretary to the Cabinet, Ambassador Mercy Deborah Karikari, and the National Security Coordinator, Mr. Edward Asunani. Furthermore, the Advisory Council provided for under the Act has been constituted. I have nominated Professor Mike Okwe, former Speaker of Parliament, to serve on this council. The President-elect, John Mahama, has nominated the former Speaker of Parliament, the Right Honorable Edward Du Ajaho, to represent him on the council, whose chair is ex officio the current Speaker of Parliament, the Right Honorable Alban Bagbin. The functions of the transition team, as outlined in Section 2 of the Presidential Transition Act, are clear. They include ensuring a proper and seamless handover of executive authority, ensuring the provision of daily national security briefings to the President-elect, and ensuring the due discharge of the financial obligation of the state to Article 71 office holders. To execute these functions effectively, the Act makes provision at the instigation of the transition team for the formation of discretionary committees to address specific aspects of the transition process as it deems fit. It is obvious that the role of this team is not simply administrative. It is deeply patriotic. You are tasked with ensuring that the incoming administration receives all the resources, briefings, and support it needs to begin its work with a single objective of advancing the interests of the Ghanaian people. Ladies and gentlemen, this meeting is a reaffirmation of our shared commitment to the democratic principles that underpin our republic. This commitment is especially critical in the current context of West Africa, where the region faces threats from unconstitutional changes in government and the spread of terrorism and violent extremism. Ghana stands out as a beacon of democracy and stability, showcasing the strength of our institutions and the maturity of our people. It is imperative that we continue to consolidate this hard-earned reputation. By adhering strictly to the provisions of the Transition Act, we send a powerful message to the world that democracy thrives in Ghana, even in challenging times. As we embark on this transition, I urge all members of the team, both from the outgoing administration and the incoming one, to approach this task with a spirit of collaboration, transparency, and mutual respect. The people of Ghana are counting on us to prioritize their interests above all else. Let us not lose sight of our shared goal, safeguarding the freedom, the peace, progress, and stability of our beloved nation. This transition is not an end, but a continuation of the democratic journey, which serves as a model for our region and beyond. I call on all Ghanaians to support this process with patience, understanding, and faith in the institutions that underpin our republic. The strength of our democracy lies not just in the conduct of elections, but also in the respect for the outcomes and the orderly handing over of power. Let us continue to build a nation that serves as an inspiration to others, a nation united in its diversity and freedom, and steadfast in its pursuit of progress. President-elect, Your Excellency, you'll be happy to learn that the Minister of Finance has just informed me on my way here that the third quarter results of the economy has been established at a growth of 7.2%, making an average rate of the growth of the first three quarters at 6.3%. We are indeed back to the pre-COVID era of growth in my first term.
President Nana Akufo-Addo there. President-elect John Dramani Mahama showed his full support alongside that of President Akufo-Addo to ensure the smooth execution of the transition process.
Our country has done it once again, despite the belief of naysayers, and I believe that Ghana will continue to get it right when it matters the most. Today we're here to inaugurate the Joint Transitional Team as required by law, and I wish to congratulate the members who have been selected or nominated to serve on this Joint Transitional Team. There is huge expectation that this transitional team will get its work right so that we have a seamless and smooth transition of power from one democratically elected government to another. Obviously, this is in fulfillment of the Presidential Transition Act, which was signed into law in 2012 by our late President of blessed memory, Professor John Evan Sata Mills. The law requests that we set up a joint transitional team in a cooperative spirit with mutual respect and openness to the approach of matters during the transition period. The purpose is to achieve a smooth and peaceful transfer of government administration, as I said, from one government to another. We pray that the members of the joint transitional team will work within the confines of this law to fulfill the wishes of the Ghanaian people as expressed in the votes of 7th December 2024. In accordance with law, I have nominated members of my side of the Joint Transitional Team and nominated Honorable Julius Deborah, former Chief of Staff, to represent me as Joint Chair of the Transition Team. I've also nominated, on the basis of experience and institutional memory, several other people, including Johnson Asedu Nketia, who is the chairman of our party, but also served as a long-standing member of parliament and also as Deputy Minister of Agriculture. Honorable Fifi Fiavikwete, who's General Secretary of our party and served as Minister of Transport and Minister of Agriculture. Mr. Kalistus Mahama, who was head of the Ghana Local Government Service and also has been the administrator in my office these past 8 years. Professor Kwamina Ahoy, who is a doyen of local government And if I want to talk about his credentials, we probably would not leave here today. Mr. Atuforsen MP, who is our majority leader. In order not to stir controversy, maybe I'll say incoming. I don't know what position you take, but Honorable Mama Yaga MP, who also served as Minister of Youth and Sports and also as Minister of Environment, Science and Technology, and is the MP for Boko Central. Honorable Valerie Sawyer, who served as Deputy Chief of Staff and also served as Special Presidential Advisor on Policy. And Honorable Guzi Tano, who is a long-standing cadre, has been a member of the PNDC and is a very well-known intellectual and very seasoned politician and businessman. We have 3 ex-official members, and the first is Honorable Prosper Bani, who served as Chief of Staff and also as Minister of Interior, but previously worked with the United Nations. We have Honorable Marietta Brew Apia Opong, who was Attorney General when I was President. And then we have the Doyen of Transitions, Honorable Nana Tudazi, who is a UN consultant on transitions and has worked on transitions in many countries. And of course, as Mr. President said, the Honorable Dua Jahu joins the Honorable Michael Quay under the chairmanship of Speaker Sumana Bagbin on the Advisory Council. I wish to ask that we all be guided by the spirit behind the Presidential Transition Act to ensure a smooth and seamless transition. We may belong to different political parties, but we all belong to Ghana, and let the spirit of our nationalism and patriotism prevail. We call on the transition team to work expeditiously and within a modest budget, given the prevailing economic circumstances, even though Mr. President seems to strike a very upbeat tone on recent numbers. I'm sure the transition team would establish that. Mr. President, you can count on my respect and cooperation during and even after this transition. We must demonstrate to the world that despite the adversity we face, Ghana remains the beacon of democracy in Africa. Now more than ever, destiny requires us as countrymen and women to close our ranks and stand in solidarity with each other. And just a little slip, I omitted Dr. Edward Omani Boama, who was Minister of Communications in my government and has been the Director of Elections during the past election. And so we must put our country first, and the work would be onerous, but we expect that you're capable and you're going to put your shoulders to the wheel. Myself and Mr. President will be available in case you need to consult us on anything. Let the spirit of cooperation that has marked the post-election period continue to guide us even as we go through this phase.
President-elect John Dramani Mahama there.
This is 97.3 Citi FM. You are still live here on Eyewitness News. If you just joined us, we are talking about President Akufo-Addo's inauguration of the transition team. The transition team, as you may be well aware, is a constitutional body overseeing the successful handover process, and it will play a pivotal role in ensuring a smooth transfer of power. Just as you may be well aware, or just in case you have forgotten, these are members of the transition team on both sides. The NPP has Attorney General Godfred Yeboah Adame, Minister of Parliamentary Affairs, Oseiche Mensah Bonsu, also Finance Minister Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam, the Interior Minister Henry Korte, Defense Minister Dominic Nitiwul, Foreign Affairs Minister Honorable Shelley Ayoko Botwe, Minister for Local Government Martin J. Mensah-Kosa, Minister for National Security Albert Kandapa. The team also has members including Dr. Evans Agridako, Head of Civil Service, Dr. Nana Ato Arthur, Head of Local Government Service, Ambassador Mercy Deborah Karikari, Secretary to the Cabinet, as well as Mr. Edward Asumeni, National Security Coordinator. Remember that the chairperson of the committee on the MPP side is the Chief of Staff Akusia Frema Ose Opari. On the NDC side, we have the co-chairperson Julius Debra. Other members include Johnson Esedun Ketia, Fifi Fiave Kwete, Dr. Callistus Mahama, Dr. Valerie Soya, Professor Kwabena Ahoy, Dr. Kaseo Latoforsin, Mahama Yaraga Gusitano, and Dr. Edward Omani Buama. Additionally, the president-elect has nominated Right Honorable Edward Do Ajahu as a member of the Transitional Advisory Council. We want to get a reaction on this particular subject matter. Let's go live onto the phone line, speak to governance expert Professor Bafo Agyeman-Duah. Professor Bafo Agyeman-Duah, good evening. Thank you for joining us on Eyewitness on 97.3 Citi FM.
Good evening, and thanks for having me.
Right, I'm sure you are aware of the members of the transition team. You've seen the members that the president inaugurated today. First and foremost, what do you make of the composition of the team on both sides? I'm asking because both parties are touting the experience and institutional memories of these members.
Exactly, that is the point. The Constitution prescribes areas that should constitute the team. And I think the President accordingly has selected people knowledgeable and also experienced in those specific areas that you mentioned. And the same way, the incoming administration has also nominated people of substance, of knowledge, of experience, who can really engage the other side to ensure that what is needed for now, as part of the transition, can be gotten. So I think it's a great start with a very solid, reputable individual going to manage this transitional process for us. So I'm quite pleased with the composition of the teams.
I see, but then again, you hear the members of, both parties also saying that they are going to ensure accountability, transparency, and openness. In your estimation, how can this be achieved in ensuring a fair and smooth transition? What mechanisms are we expecting to see from the transition team?
Well, you see, if you come to the ordinary world, corporate world, or any business organization, when the existing chief of staff or CEO is leaving, you prepare your handover notes. Even in secondary schools, when headmasters are being transferred, they prepare handover notes. But on the state level, it's more complicated and more sophisticated than, say, the headmaster of a secondary school preparing his handover notes. The nation or the state is a powerful institution embodying everything that consists of not just the people, but all what it takes to run a state machinery. Topmost among this certainly will be security of the state, then of course the finances and many others. So if you look at the composition, it reflects these very important or vital aspects of the state. Now, directly to your question, the reason why I think the incoming government has nominated the individuals that the president-elect has nominated simply tells you that he wants to ensure that those going to engage the government are those with the knowledge and the experience to ask the right questions and to expect to receive the right answers. So in a way, like you said, it's a time for accountability and all that. Sure, the state of the security of the country, you got to account for it fully. We know that, for instance, the northern sector, we have some threats from the country bordering us. We have other security threats that you and I may not know. And it's the government that is in charge of that. So it's important for this government to inform with documentation every aspect of how we are managing our security in the nursing part as well as in all other areas of security. That's where the accountability comes in. Of course, when it comes to the area of finance and the economy, that's a huge area. We borrow so much, we get certain revenues, there could be some contract pending or ongoing. All those other things relating to the financial well-being of this country must be known, well documented. So that is to help the incoming government in his own initial planning on how he gets these things done. So we move on to the other areas. So in effect, it's accountability of the stewardship of these areas by the incumbent government. Then transparency comes in when they ask for certain things to exemplify or to illustrate whatever that they claim to have. So all the necessary documentations, all the necessary records, videos, whatever, will be provided. That is, in a way, the transparency part of it. So it is a national, more or less, accountability day, but just for the outgoing government and the incoming government. And I'm sure the people on the incoming government side are more than capable of demanding what they need to have and expecting to get what they need to get.
Right. You mentioned that the transition team should be asking the right questions, that's the incoming government, to get the right answers from the outgoing government. Also, you alluded to the fact that finance, economy, security, areas of topmost priority. But beyond these two areas that you've alluded to, are there other key areas in the country that should be a top priority for both sides of the team?
Yeah, I just mentioned those two just as examples. All the others are listed. If you look at the government side, you notice that Attorney General, that relates to law and justice in the country. You notice there's Foreign Ministry. Of course, our relations with other countries, other international organizations will have to be accounted for. Interior, internal security, the agencies that help us to achieve that, like the police, another thing, defense, of course, the defense minister, Newsroom, will be there to account for our the present status in terms of numbers, equipment, weapons, contracts underway, all those things. So I simply use the two as an example, but certainly it's more than the two. In fact, even local governance, the district assembly system will be accounted for. The public service, Dr. Agri, who has it, will be there to also give them the status of where the public service is today in terms of numbers, in terms of emoluments, in terms of ongoing expenditures or expected. All those areas will have to be accounted for, because you see, the incoming government is going to take charge of the country in all its vicissitudes, and therefore it's important that they get the accurate and up-to-date information for them to also begin to plan their agenda and to attack the areas of our country, economy particularly, that needs to be attacked as soon as possible. So it's a wide area with these few areas selected by the Constitution to be looked at.
Prof, I'm also trying to get your thoughts on this particular aspect of transitions, especially when it comes to what we've seen on the continent, our neighboring countries, quite difficult when it comes to the handing over of power. First, you have seen the constitutional mandate that allows us to, inaugurate this transition team to ensure a smooth transfer of power. But in time past, looking at the changes we've seen on the continent, do you think that the constitutional mandate is okay? What do you say when it comes to comparison? Do you think that Ghana's approach in the inauguration of this transition is more enough, or is enough as compared to other democracies? Or you think that given the changes we are seeing, we should be adopting some other things from other countries or democracies? What's the picture you see?
Well, the good thing for us is that the Constitution prescribes exactly what constitutes transition. Of course, there could be others unwritten in the Constitution, but common sense will tell you how to do as part of the transition. And lucky for Ghana, this is not the first time. since the changeover from Jerry Rawlings to John Kufuor, and Kufuor to Atamils to Mahama to the Nana Akufo-Addo, and now we are going to have about a sixth one. So we have gone through many times, and my expectation is that having this experience behind us, this could be approached in such a way that it will be exemplary, it will be very smooth for all. Regarding other countries, again, depends on what their constitution says or what conventions they have established for the handover notes. But let me say this, these transitional arrangements become important in a democracy. You see, if you remember when we used to have coup d'etats and all that, we simply, you don't know, in fact, you go to an office, everything is thrown apart. You know, desks are opened and things are stolen and all. So it really affected the way we archived our political history. But since we have these transitions in our democracy, I think things have become more organized and ordered. So I think that is what we need to do. I'm sure there'll be a few areas where we need to strengthen and enhance as we move on. But for now, I think we have had enough of these transitions for those who have been appointed now to do the best possible job to ensure the smoothest. So that is the beauty side of democracy, where a changeover is ordered, is organized, is peaceful, and everybody is happy. That is an achievement that we should be proud of. In other countries, even if they claim to run a democracy, they may not have such a smooth transition. What we have here is almost like what you have in the United States. You know, the incumbent president will be there for a few more months, and during that period, there will be engagement from both sides. If you know, in the States, Trump's team are already engaging the Biden team to make sure there's that kind of smooth transition. So I think overall, we are not doing badly at all on that side of our transition. What could be a problem, I don't know whether you have in mind to ask that question, is the problems we are having with the post-election management of peace, the way violence has broken out across the country. That in itself is very, very, very disturbing and sad.
All right, Prof, thank you so much for your time with us this evening. That's Professor Bafo Ajemandua, governance expert, sharing with us his thoughts on the inauguration of the transition team. But this is still Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. My name is Sni Lati here tonight with Enu Safo.
This news, be there as it happens.
Oh, jump on now. Go. Ugomi, at what time will you come back where I don't hear the sound of your car? Why you buy new car?
No, I don't change my car. It be the same ride. It be the fuel way I change. Way one shouts it. Ever since I started using the all-new Excellium Premium Fuel, fortified with 3-in-1 action. Oh, Joe, now my car they run like electric car. No, so
this is the type of fuel where they want to. Because now engine they cost. Where they want for way if I buy it, it will protect my engine. And with the small way I buy, I go drive
Absolutely. It's like strapping a turbocharger to your engine and giving it a protector. And what they bust my mind says be the 3-in-1 action. No, Excellium they prevent up to 99% of deposit. It be anti-wear, some be anti-corrosion. Won't pay when I open it.
So where can I find this magical fuel?
Just head over to any Total Energy service station and your car will thank you.
Hey, they make a finish my gobe fast. They rush go Total Energies. My friend, but why you have my gobe inside?
I give you info. Make a fill the gobe too small.
Go.
Excellium is designed to protect your car engine, decrease fuel consumption, and lower CO2 emissions. Don't say fuel, say Excellium. Choose Excellium, choose quality.
Hi, Aku. I just got the estimate for the home repairs. It's more than we expected. I'm really stressed about where to find the money.
Why worry, Musa? You are a salaried worker. Haven't you heard about the GCB personal loan promo? They can give you up to 700,000 Ghana cedis in less than 24 hours at a significantly reduced interest rate and fees.
Really? This sounds exciting, but is it easy to apply?
Super easy. Skip the stress. Get the cash with the GCB personal loan promo with a 1-month repayment holiday. Just visit a GCB bank branch near you or call 0302-634-922. Toll free 0800-422-422. No hassle, no stress.
Wow, I just got a notification. The loan is already in my account. That was fast.
Skip the stress and get the cash you need with GCB personal loan. Visit a branch near you today. Terms and conditions apply. GCB Bank, your bank for life.
National Health Insurance.
Today, I will tell you why you need to have health insurance cover by the National Health Insurance Scheme. With over 500 medicines on the NHIS medicines list to take care of you and an extensive NHIS benefit package, the NHIS offers you financial risk protection against over 95% of disease conditions in Ghana. These include the 4 most common childhood cancers: breast cancer treatment, oral and eye care, free maternal health care from antenatal, normal delivery, forceps or cesarean section, and what's more, postnatal care is also covered under the NHIS. Remember, members aged 70 years and above also enjoy free elderly health care and pay no premiums or observe a waiting period. Let no one tell you otherwise. The NHIS guarantees your seamless access to health care. For further details, download the My NHIS app from Play Store or the App Store, or simply walk into any of the NHIS district offices nationwide. Terms and conditions apply. Call us on 054-444-6447 or 0302-746-447 for further inquiries. NHIS, your access to healthcare. This message is brought to you by the United States Agency for International Development, USAID.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You're welcome back. Let's do some more stories. The New Patriotic Party has alleged that its parliamentary candidates in disputed constituencies from the just-ended elections are being targeted by elements of the National Democratic Congress. The party claims that NPP MPs have been forced out of their homes by NDC supporters. Majority Leader Alexander Penyamakin has called on President-elect John Mahama to intervene and rein in the NDC supporters.
That the NDC, after winning power, will resort, threaten party officials and threaten anybody they see as a threat, so-called. In Ablekuma North, for instance, the parliamentary candidate there is under siege. Yesterday, she had a sleepless night. All manner of persons were at her residence in search of pink sheets. The question is, why is the NDC so interested in destroying evidence? Why are they interested in capturing pink sheets to destroy them and set them ablaze? This woman, Madame Ekuya Afriye, had to run for her life. It took the timely intervention of the police to protect her and to drive these NDC hooligans away. Okankwe Central, my respected colleague, Honorable Patrick Buama, is unable to sleep in his house because they are threatening him, thinking that he has a pink sheet at his residence. His constituency chairman is being looked for. His constituency secretary cannot sleep at home. All because they believe that these individuals have pink sheets. Why should a member of parliament fear for his life? All because he is participating in democracy. I would want to call on His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to stop his people to speak to his party people. This is not democracy. This is not the democracy we've all worked hard for. The hypocrisy is becoming too clear day in, day out. All of us are being threatened. In my own constituency, for instance, they have now come out with a lie, and unfortunately some media personnel are following such lie to the extent that, to the effect that a certain NDC constituency vice chairman cannot be found. It's a lie. They are using that to incite their party foot soldiers to attack MPP members, including my very self.
Minority Leader Alexander Penyamakin. The Office of the Head of the Local Government Service has urged regional ministers to enhance monitoring of security in their regions following widespread attacks on state institutions by unidentified individuals. The service has warned that local government offices may temporarily close with staff working remotely should there be any immediate threat to lives. This advisory was outlined in a letter signed by the Head of Service, Dr. Nana Ato Arthur. Here are excerpts of the letter read by my colleague Akosia Ochri.
Given the threats and incidents of violence by unknown assailants, the safety of our staff must be our highest priority. We must act swiftly to mitigate any potential risk and ensure their well-being. In this regard, I urge you all to closely monitor the situation in your respective regions, and if there is any indication that lives and properties are at risk, you should temporarily close the offices and allow all staff members to work remotely until the situation stabilizes. This precautionary measure is intended to safeguard our staff from potential harm and provide them with peace of mind during the unsettling period. Urge you to maintain close communication with your MMDAs to receive updates on any developments and advise them to keep regular contact with law enforcement agencies to provide the needed security support to protect the offices when necessary.
Those were excerpts of a letter issued by the Office of the Head of the Local Government Service to all regional ministers on the widespread attacks on state institutions carried out by unknown individuals, read by my colleague Kennedy Chumesi. Now, the People's National Party has condemned the violent attacks on key state institutions allegedly carried out by supporters of the National Democratic Congress. The ransacked offices include the National Disaster Management Organization's headquarters, the Passport Office, several district assemblies, and other government establishments. In response, PNP founder Janet Nabla urged all stakeholders to condemn these actions and called for accountability for those involved in the violence.
They went and took over. So you will tell me that those people, you don't know them? These are NDC members committing these crimes against this country. They are called National Democratic Congress. Where is the democracy? This one isn't it worse than a military regime? So what we are saying is that we condemn all these acts, and we are saying that they are trying to make nothing our democracy, because this is not democracy. This is worse than a military regime. And we all have to come out and talk. Not only the PMP, the media, the civil society organizations, the academia, all must come together so that we will condemn the NDC for this heinous act we are committing against the people of Ghana. This is so bad, and we have to be bold.
Janet Nabla is the founder of the People's National Party.
We are still live here on 97.3 Citi FM. This is Eyewitness News. My name is Ni Lati here tonight with Eno Safo. Away from the politics, let's do health and take you to the Western region where there's this development coming in there. The Western Regional Coordinating Council has banned the sale of vegetables in the region after the outbreak of cholera in that particular part of the country. We have some death tolls over there, as well as some recorded cases there. I want to take you live to the region, speak to the Regional Environmental Health Analyst, Oliver Cromwell, who joins us tonight on Eyewitness News. Good evening to you, sir. Many thanks for joining us here on Eyewitness News. Hello, Mr. Cromwell. Hello, sir. Apologies, I do not think we have Mr. Cromwell on the line. We are trying to rework the lines, get him back, and then speak to him. But the story is that if you are in the Western region and you deal in, vegetable sales, you can no longer do that because that's the decision that has been taken by the Regional Coordinating Council. Well, we know that based on their surveillance, they came to the conclusion that it is because of the sale of contaminated vegetables that has led to the rise in cholera cases, leading to the death of some people in the region, particularly within the Sekondi Takoradi Metropolitan and Efia-Kwesi municipal areas. And so we are trying to get Mr. Cromwell on the line. As and when we get him, we will try and speak to him. But this is still Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. My name is Ni Lati. I've been told that we have Mr. Cromwell on the line this time. We're hoping that we'll speak to him. Mr. Cromwell, good evening to you. Thank you for joining us on Eyewitness News.
Good evening. Thank you very much.
Well, so as of December 7, you had 789 suspected cases, 8 deaths. As we speak today, it's December 11. Have the figures changed?
The figure has changed as at 9th December. As at 9th December, we are having 908 reported cases with 8 deaths.
So essentially, the suspected cases have gone up, but the deaths remained 8.
The same, yeah.
Right. And so you have done your surveillance and you say that over 90% of the cases there were linked to food vendors. How did you arrive at this decision to ban the sale of vegetables in the region to curb the situation?
Mostly what happens is that in every case, we have a case study of what happened previously before the person getting the disease. The history of his or her movement and what happened in terms of food intake, in terms of latrine where he visited, then in terms of hygiene and all those things. These are the things we go into in all the 908 cases, and based on that. That is why we came out with about 90% and more of the case from food hygiene, from food vendors, and especially people taking vegetables.
I see. But I'm sure with this kind of decision that you have taken, advising the public as a form of behavioral change communication, it's possible, telling people not to buy vegetables, but banning the vegetable sales by food vendors. Have you notified the police? How are they able to ensure that there's strict compliance?
Yeah, as for individual or the domestic houses, because they can easily wash and then keep the vegetables clean. That one we leave the plate to them, so that we educate them on the need to wash it and the need of how they will keep it clean before taking it. For the food vendors, we've tried so much. We've met them to discuss the issue of the same vegetables. We've had education with them, a lot of education and all those things, and it's still not, we are not getting the result. Therefore, this issue. But in terms of enforcement, we have environmental health officers all over the region with the support of Ghana Health Service, FDA, NADMO, and the rest. We started going around looking at people who are hiding behind and selling the vegetables. And when we get you, we'll arrest you and prosecute you as the law says.
So offenders will be arrested and prosecuted?
Yes.
And so how long is this ban going to be in force?
Yeah, we cannot say anything for now, But we need to study the cases that is coming from today, tomorrow, right up to the next 5 or 1 week to determine what we should do next. But for now, we don't know when. But we pray that by a week or two, we should have a peaceful place in Western region so that we celebrate the Christmas. But for now, we cannot say that within 1 week or two. But we need to study it up to the next 2 weeks to see what will happen before we can maybe give another community.
But as we speak, has the Regional Health Directorate been overwhelmed with the rising numbers in terms of the cholera cases?
Exactly so. Exactly. When you go to the hospitals, the health facilities and all those, it's terrible. It's terrible.
And how are you dealing with it?
They are managing it. Even yesterday, we met the director of health service. The director of health service. And what they are saying is that they are even trying to get one of the Agenda 111 facilities where it is not especially complete and use it as a place to keep some of the cases. So we know that once the whole most of the health facilities are full, we are now trying to get other places that we can keep the cases and then manage them. So it's very alarming in the Western region. And what we are getting is that daily we are getting 60 cases, average of 60 cases, reported cases a day.
160 cases in a day.
60 cases a
60
day.
cases in a day.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you very much. That's Oliver Cromwell, Regional Environmental Health Analyst in the Western region. The update from the region is that over 900 reported cases have been recorded. Death toll still remains 8. Over 60 cases being recorded in a day. The Western Regional Coordinating Council has banned the sale of vegetables by food vendors, warning that offenders will be prosecuted and dealt with if apprehended. This is 97.3 Citi FM. The show is Eyewitness News. My name is Ni Lati. Kweku from Nungwa says that I hope the inclusion of both the party chairman and secretary in the transition does not make it political. Mr. Mahama should have considered the tension in the country by selecting members who are known to be apolitical. One advice to the incoming government: stop galamsey in caps. That is from Kweku. Mausi from Abutiati Teti in the Volta region says the inauguration of a transition team signals a commitment to a peaceful transfer of power. Despite previous comment by Nanado, it is a positive step towards ensuring a smooth transition. You can also send your message on 0549986996. This is still Eyewitness News. Stay with us. When we come back, we have the very latest in the world of business.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Fun fact: did you know that most frogs can leap more than 20 times their body length? Yup, magical. Now just imagine your business with that kind of reach. Take that leap with Frog. Frog is a bulk SMS, voice messaging, and IVR from Wiggle. User-friendly, fast, and reliable. Get more features on one platform for all your bulk messaging needs. Whether you're a church, financial institution, school, corporate organization, or individual, if you need to reach people with your services, do it with Frog. Contact 0553 019 529 or 0552 809 558. Speak to us at www.wiggle.com.gh. Frog, a leap into greatness.
Just like my mother taught me, I'm teaching you too. These are recipes that have been in our family for generations. Aku, this here is Masim rice.
Mama, did your mother also use Masim rice?
No, my dear. This one is our new tradition. Just me and you.
Oh, and it's delicious too.
Muslim rice is grown and packaged right here in Ghana. Uses less water and is tasty from the first mouthful to the last. Look out for Muslim rice in markets and supermarkets all over Ghana. Muslim means tasty.
The Situation All White Christmas Party is back! It's Christmas Eve, 48 the usual. I step into this celebration like none other. The Situation All White Christmas Party is taking over the city with music, magic, and memories waiting to be made. Think cozy vibes, electric beats, and the perfect blend of festive cheer and wild energy all in one space. Date 24th December 2024. Venue Beyond the Bridge, East Legon. Time 8 p.m. Dress code, it's an all-white affair. Come and dance like nobody's watching. Sip, mingle, make merry, and unwrap the ultimate Christmas Eve experience. Dress to impress, bring your holiday spirit, and let's make the Situation All White Christmas Party unforgettable. Call 0205-973-973 for table reservations and get ready to party! It's going to be lit at the Bridge. The Situation All White Christmas Party 2024 is powered by Channel 1 TV with support from 97.3 Citi FM and proudly sponsored by Carlsberg Beer, Kiss Drinks, Series, Bell Eyes, Verve du Vernet, Bushmills Irish Whiskey, and Blue Jeans Energy Drink.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. Citi Business News. Be informed.
Time now for Citi Business News on Eyewitness News. My name is Enosafu. Let's settle for the details. Ghana's economy expanded by 7.2% in the third quarter of 2024. This is according to provisional data from the Ghana Statistical Service. This marks a steady improvement from the 6.9% growth recorded in the second quarter. The services sector maintained its dominance as the backbone of the economy, contributing 42.9% to GDP at basic prices. Industry followed with a solid growth rate of 32.6%, while agriculture rounded off the key sectors with a 24.5% share. Here's government statistician Professor Samuel Kobnenim with highlights of the data.
Ghana cedis that was recorded for the same time period in the third quarter of 2023. Discounting the effect of price changes, the economy in constant terms, discounting the effect of oil, stood at 45.5 billion Ghana cedis relative to 42.3 billion Ghana cedis in constant terms when the effect of oil has been discounted. This means that on a year-on-year basis, discounting the effect of oil, the economy grew by 7.7% relative to 2.4% non-oil GDP growth rate that was recorded in the third quarter of 2023. GDP at basic prices stood at 247.8 billion Ghana cedis. Disaggregating GDP at basic prices from a sectoral perspective, the services sector continues to retain its dominance with over 2/5 of the overall GDP contribution, specifically contributing 42.9% of the 247.8 billion GDP at basic prices that was recorded for the third quarter of 2024. The industry sector is contributing at about a third, specifically 32.6%, and the agriculture sector contributing about a quarter, specifically 24.5%, indicating that GDP oil estimate in current terms for the third quarter of 2024 stood at 270 billion Ghana cedis. Thank you very much.
That was government statistician Professor Samuel Kobnenim. Atlantic Lithium Limited has announced plans to issue approximately 34 million ordinary shares at 0.23 Australian dollars per share to Asura International Holdings Limited, its largest shareholder. This forms part of the company's efforts to strengthen its position as a leading player in Ghana's lithium sector. Daniel Sakate has more in the following report.
In a notice to the Ghana Stock Exchange, the additional shares, according to Atlantic Lithium, will be at a cost of 0.23 Australian dollars per share. It also noted that it is expected to raise some $4.98 million from the issuance. Atlantic Lithium reveals that the company's executive chairman, Neil Herbert, the chief executive officer, Kit Muller, and non-executive director, Edward Cranton, who doubles as the chief executive officer of the Minerals Income Investment Fund, are subscribers to the approximately 34 million shares to be issued. The equity issuance is a pivotal step aligned with the company's goal of delivering Ghana's first lithium-producing mine, the Ewoya Lithium Project. The Ewoya Lithium Project has already secured critical permits, including a mining lease and environmental clearance. The proceeds from this issuance reinforces Atlantic Lithium's ability to advance this project, further cementing its stake in the global lithium supply chain amid soaring demand driven by the green energy transition. With the total issued shares now at approximately 693 million, the company has amplified its equity resources, aligning with its strategic partnership with Piedmont Lithium Incorporation. This move underscores the confidence of shareholders and leadership in Atlantic Lithium's long-term prospects.
That was a report filed by Daniel Sakite. Ghana's import of consumer-oriented food products between January and July this year surged to $817 million, according to the United States Department of Agriculture. This marks an increase of nearly 13% compared to the corresponding period last year. This development comes amidst escalating food inflation, with Ghana's November 2024 food inflation rate reaching 25.9%.
The United States Department of Agriculture notes that Ghana remains a significant importer of consumer-oriented food and agricultural products, which serves as essential inputs for local processors and sustain consumer demand. In 2023, the country's import of consumer-oriented products totaled $1.36 billion, with U.S. export accounting for $86 million, reflecting a 3% uptick from 2022. This positions the United States as Ghana's fourth largest supplier of such products. Like many developing economies, Ghana relies heavily on food and consumer goods imports to meet domestic demand. For example, the nation imports approximately 55% of its rice consumption. To address the over-reliance on foreign imports, the government previously proposed a trade restrictive policy through a legislative instrument targeting 22 key items. The policy aimed to reduce the country's dependence on imports by encouraging the consumption of locally produced goods through competitive pricing. However, industry stakeholders cautioned that imposing restrictions on such goods could drive up prices.
That report was filed by Emmanuel Opong. Energy strategist Dr. Yusuf Sulemana believes the incoming government should first focus on involving private sector players in ECG's revenue recovery efforts before considering its full privatization. This comes as President-elect John Dramani Mahama has reiterated his commitment to addressing the significant revenue losses incurred by the Electricity Company of Ghana. According to reports from the Africa Center for Energy Policy, the country's energy sector continues to accumulate substantial debt, largely due to the low revenue recovery rate of ECG, which currently stands at $67 million per month. Energy strategist Dr. Yusuf Sulemana has been highlighting his reasons in an interview with Citi Business News.
The revenue collection aspect of it, we start with that one, and if that improves drastically, we can, I think we can turn the fortunes of ECG to a positive trajectory, and that will inure to the benefit of the entire power sector. One thing is able to collect the money, but our inability to stay on course on this cash waterfall mechanism to be able to distribute to all the key and the right and the relevant stakeholders is the matter in question here. And I think that has always been one of the reasons why the IPPs, they have always been threatening to lay down their tools or to cut power, and some did cut power periodically because I believe we're not following through with cash waterfall mechanism working principle.
Dr. Yusuf Sulemana is an energy strategist. The Bank of Ghana is turning to artificial intelligence to enhance its monetary policy decisions, particularly in the area of predictive inflationary trends. The central bank is leveraging AI for efficiency of economic data analysis, enabling it to respond more proactively to shifts in the global and domestic economic landscape. First Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Maxwell Opoku-Afari, has been underscoring the importance of technological innovation in maintaining economic stability and fostering sustainable growth.
At the Bank of Ghana, AI has been employed to help with forecasting, to generate near-term forecasts. Through the development of algorithms and creation of crawlers, AI has been used in gathering prices of goods and services in firms that have internet presence. The data is scraped off the website of these firms that have internet presence, shipped the data back to the office for processing. Our AI-generated inflation provides us with real-time inflation numbers, and this is novel, and our peers in the sub-region have requested technical assistance in this area to also help support work in the jurisdiction.
Dr. Maxwell Opoku-Afari is First Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana. That's all for City Business News on Eyewitness News. My name is Inosafo. Up next is Point Blank.
Detailed news, unparalleled coverage. City News on 97.3 FM.
New Kivo Hot Pepper Powder. Loco show. This advert is FDA approved.
Hello everyone, I'm Hanefri, the Health and Safety Manager of Total Energies Ghana. I want to remind you of the importance of road safety, especially as the festive season draws closer. Road accidents don't just happen, they are caused. Reckless driving, overspeeding, and poor vehicle maintenance are some of the leading causes during this period. Here are a few tips to keep you safe. Always ensure your vehicle is in good condition before traveling. Please wear your seatbelt and avoid distractions like using your phone whilst driving. Let's commit to responsible behavior on the road this season. Remember, safety starts from you. Safety for me, for you, and for all. Afishapa.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Eyewitness News. My name is Ni Lati Lati. Time now for Point Blank. And joining us for today's edition of Point Blank is the Member of Parliament and re-elected Member of Parliament for the people of Norton in the Volta region. A household name. Honorable Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa is my guest tonight on Eyewitness News. Good evening to you, Honorable. Thank you for joining us on Point Blank on Eyewitness News.
Good evening, me. Thank you for having me. How are you doing?
I'm well, and big congratulations to you for winning your seat again.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
The people of Norton have renewed their mandate. How did you pull it out? Over 90% in terms of the votes. How did you do it?
Well, first of all, let me say a good evening to the listeners of Citi FM. And I'd like to use this opportunity to convey my deepest gratitude to the chiefs and people of Northton, my beloved constituency, as I always refer to Northton. Yes, 93.12%. It's confirmed that is the widest victory margin in this year's election, and is the second election on the trot that we have achieved this. In 2020 we had 89.7%, which was the widest margin, and we're determined to increase that margin and maintain the tradition. So we set out to achieve Operation 94%, which President Mahama was gracious enough to launch in Joapong in August. And we are really grateful to the Almighty and to my beloved constituents that we have virtually achieved that target with the declaration that the Electoral Commission has done. I will say we achieved this due to hard work, loyalty. I have remained loyal to the people. I have never deserted them. I've never abandoned them. I listen to their concerns, what matters to them, and that is what I respond to. I continue to serve them diligently, with integrity, with vision, with creativity, and I always say that it is absolutely crucial that you never take people who elect you, who are really your employers, for granted. You should never take them for granted. You should be there for them. You should at all times, particularly when they need you most. And you saw what happened with the disaster, the spillage from the Akosombo pond dams by the VRA. For 4 months, I didn't leave the constituency. I didn't go anywhere. I was there with them, struggling with them, rescuing them, trying to revive them, organizing relief items for them, building resettlement homes for them, and making sure that I advocated for them. I brought national attention in Parliament, in the chamber. I compelled the government to respond and to change course. They were not being responsive. They didn't attach any agency, any importance to the disaster, and at times it even got me into some trouble, but I remained resolute because the people have made you their chief advocate. You are their representative, and in their time of distress, in their time of anguish, of pain, of destitution, you cannot neglect them. And so I think that all of that, that's why when you come back home in Northton, they call me Togbe Wagbeji. And what that means is that I am the chief who keeps his word. I fulfill my promises. And my secret really is to always under promise and over deliver.
Wow.
You know, so I would say that this is what has worked, and will continue to serve the people of Northton. I must admit that the margin imposes enormous pressure on me. To whom much is given, much is expected. So the more the support, the more the delivery, the more the performance. I have no choice. I have to make sure that I up the ante, and I deliver for this fourth term way beyond what I have ever delivered. And I've made that pledge to them that I would, if you give me 93.12%, I must also make sure that I give you 100% performance.
And I like how
that's
you
what I'm going to
describe
do.
your victory. You under promise, over deliver, and also this is the widest, margin when it comes to your victory. And this particular wide margin you talk about, away from your constituency, translated into the national picture, the NDC decisively, overwhelmingly securing a massive victory in this particular election, more than 1.5 million votes as compared to that of the governing soon-to-be opposition NPP. How did NDC do this one this time around?
To be very, very honest with you, even though our internal polls told us that we were winning, you have heard the President-elect, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, say that this can only be the doing of God. Our internal polls confirmed our lead, that we were on an unassailable trajectory, and that we were going to emerge victorious. However, the outcome of this election, what has emerged is a total decimation, a tsunami, a massacre of the MPP. This will go down in history as the greatest political comeback by any politician, and all credit must go to the Ghanaian people. Going into this election, a slogan emerged that is Ghana versus the MPP, because we have an Akufo-Addo Bawumia presidency which refused to listen. They were very arrogant, they were very intransigent, they destroyed so many livelihoods, so many lives, destroyed our environment, destroyed our water bodies. It was always about political convenience. It was always about their self-interest, insatiable greed. You followed all the exposés that I put out, the scandals upon scandals, and they just could not be bothered. I mean, for the first time in our history, Ghanaians, including senior citizens, were compelled to take a financial haircut because they mismanaged the economy. For the first time in our history, we were shut out of the international financial market. For the first time in the history of this country, all our river bodies except River Volta damaged because they say party hiasika. For the first time in our history, you have a president who attempts to deceive God, deceives the clergy, deceives the people in a so-called National Cathedral project. It has emerged now that he was really never determined to build a cathedral. We have sunk $58 million in the world's most expensive pit, and you have followed a series of exposés I have done on that. How on earth do you tell the Ghanaian people and the clergy that you are going to do a personal pledge, you won't use public funds? You told the Almighty that if you help me win an election, I'll build a cathedral in your honor. How do you then turn around without parliamentary approval, in flagrant violation of the 1992 Constitution? If I had not intercepted those documents, which reveals that on the blind side of all of us of Parliament, copious amounts, now we know $58 million had been withdrawn without parliamentary approval, and the Constitution is very clear. Nobody has the right to take public funds without parliamentary approval. And what did they do with the funds? They just diverted it. Carrie Summers is keeping $6 million. Others were engaged in inflationary pricing, David Ajayi and co. And the mindless recklessness associated with this project. You see how they destroyed so many iconic buildings because President Akufo-Addo says that in his interaction with God, God gave him the specific location in Accra where this cathedral should be put up. So he demolished the iconic Judicial Training Institute, demolished the Passport Head Office, demolished the Scholarship Secretariat, demolished the Mali Ambassador's residence, demolished bungalows belonging to Shraj, demolished bungalows belonging to judges, about 14 senior judges, demolished the Waterstone Realty Apartment Complex, demolished the Comsys IT firm. Some of these companies are in court demanding judgment there. You know, so to think that a president who told us that he was coming to protect the public purse will engage in such reckless dissipation, diversion, blatant corruption, a real heist, I mean, it's unimaginable. And that was not all. You recall the running battles I had with President Akufo-Addo about abandoning the presidential jet and chartering 20,000 euros an hour jets. With impunity, he won't listen. And I couldn't believe that a president who says that he's coming to protect the public purse, you have a presidential jet ordered by President Kufuor from your own political tradition. President Mills used it without complaining. President Mahama used it without complaining. Suddenly, this president comes in, the one who made a lot of song and dance about protecting the public purse, says that it's not luxurious enough, and we spend hundreds of millions of Ghana cedis until he had to stop. Remember the initial attempts to even outwit me, where he didn't meet me there, pretended he was traveling commercial, only to get the charter jet to meet him in transit, playing games with taxpayer resources. So I submit today that this result, which is the biggest defeat of any political party in this Fourth Republic, is a referendum on the Akufo-Addo Bawumia presidency. It shows that they are the worst government in history, and they deserve this result. And that is why we are talking about 1.6 million gap. We are talking about 13 out of 16 regions won by the NDC, by John Dramani Mahama, and as for parliament, they've become a micro minority.
We're getting into the parliament conversation
over two-thirds.
But quickly, the picture you paint is that Ghanaians were tired of what you may describe as a messy economy, reckless spending, and a number of scandals, for which reason they have voted the NPP out. But here's another leg to the conversation. Last election, 6.2 NDC, this time around 6.3 million, the difference some 100,000. For the NPP, their votes have actually gone down in terms of the numbers. So people say that, well, it is just the disgruntled NPP members who did not vote in this country, and not because a lot more people changed their minds to vote for the NDC, because the figures, the difference as compared to the last election was just about 100,000. What do you say to such arguments?
My response to that argument is that it's rather simplistic and not well informed, because when you look at the turnout, it is not a matter that you can say that it's only in MPP strongholds that turnout was low. If you analyze the results from all the regions, you notice that even in NDC strongholds, turnout was lower than the last election. Take the Volta region, for example. You're talking about an average turnout of about probably 65%, far lower than the average of about 77, 78% of 2020. So it is not just a matter of MPP voters not showing up, even though that itself, it's bad enough. That your performance is so abysmal that even your own supporters did not feel motivated to come and vote for you. And I don't know why anybody would think that that should give anybody succor or give them some refuge, But when you look at the whole election, you should acknowledge that turnout was low across board, including NDC strongholds. And I think that instead of being simplistic, we should drill further. We need further research. Is it the case that probably Ghanaians are increasingly getting fatigued and disappointed in the political class, and so don't want to be turning up in elections? We need to research into that. Is it that the harm caused, by the Akufo-Addo Bawumia presidency was so painful that people just became so disenchanted about politics? Because remember, President Akufo-Addo came into power with a lot of goodwill. Many people had high hopes, high expectations, which he has dashed. So did that play a role? We need further research into that. Then we also must ask ourselves, are we sure that the MPP votes in 2020, in 2016, are the real votes? because everybody has commended the NDC's vigilance this time. Remember that there has been some concern, sometimes legitimate, about our party's election directorate and how we have not been able to, get our results in good time, put together all our pink sheets, make sure that there's, extra
but this time
vigilance.
around, the vigilance was
This
clear.
time, yes, and you can see that all the moves by the MPP, the EC, and their collaborators, where serial numbers change, where ballot papers disappear, we were ahead of them. We were able to detect all of them. We exposed them. So, is it also the case that what they used to do in the past, where they were stuffing ballot boxes, where there are all kinds of, dubious things going on, is it a case that because of the heightened vigilance, they could not do that? So I'm saying that let's not be simplistic. Let us, do further research, drill down into the numbers, and then we can have a more informed. But just to say that our members didn't show up,
I get your point now.
I really disagree.
Some two quick things before we wrap up. There are some seats you've never won before, as far as the 1992 election throughout to this year's election is concerned. We can talk about places like Sekondi. Of course, in Sekondi, 1992 you won because the NPP boycotted the election. But we can talk of places like Sunyan, Dom Kwabenya, and one of the casualties actually where KT Hammond is coming from, Adansi Asukwa. You've never won it before, but this time around you've won it. Ikrapim South, for example. And so one will say that there is a lot of expectation as far as this particular election is concerned. So we know President John Dramani Mahama come 7th January 2025 will be sworn in as president. What should we expect? I'm asking this question because, well, we know that just as the NPP government, you've alluded to some scandals, same was recorded during the previous John Dramani Mahama. People say we've seen him before. He's also said that these are some of the things he's come to do in the first 120 days, most especially in terms of the scandals in this NPP government. One, how do you ensure that the hopes and aspirations of Ghanaians are met? And also, these probes that you want to do into most of the scandals do not amount to, witch hunting?
Good. So that's a loaded question. First of all, I submit that the verdict in this election, the way the Ghanaian people voted, it should serve as an abiding, enduring lesson to the entire political class. When the Ghanaian people give you power and you mess up, you disrespect them, you are arrogant, you destroy their lives, you destroy their country, you engage in state capture, you engage in corruption, they will punish you severely. So that is going to serve as a lesson to us, and that has to be emphasized. So expect a modest government, expect a government that will eschew corruption, eschew state capture, will avoid these scandals. And President Mahama, you've seen him in power before. I mean, compare how he dealt with Victoria Hammer over just loose talk, dreaming that she wants to make $1 million. Compare his treatment of Victoria Hammer to Akufo-Addo's treatment of Cecilia Dapa, the actual $1 million under her bed, and how he was rather writing love letters and saying, "Oh, I know you'll be vindicated, my dear Cecilia Dapa," and all of that. Eventually, the investigative bodies could not embarrass the president because of that love letter. So here we are, nothing happened. You're not going to see that kind of impunity, that kind of, condoning of corruption. Then, let me also emphasize that President Mahama has made bold pledges about rooting the canker of state capture. I'm excited that President Mahama has said in his first 120 days, if you read it, one of the key planks, commitments, is that he is going to initiate policies and laws that will prevent politicians and politically exposed persons from buying state assets. That is key. Remember, a lot of the work I have done is about politicians grabbing left, right, center, looting like there's no tomorrow. Look, at a point, we didn't have a democracy. We had a lootocracy, a kakistocracy, a kleptocracy. That's what we had, not a democracy. So I am glad that the work we have done, a number of colleagues and I, putting together a private members bill to ban politicians, prohibit them from buying state assets. President Mahama says he is going to champion it, make a law, have policies that will prevent, so that this situation of cabinet minister taking over state hotels, you have ministers, MPs, you go to AU village cantonments, they just grabbed it at 128,000 cities. I mean, 128,000, can you believe that? Land that even if you have $1.5 million, you won't get. You know, the political class sits and share them amongst themselves. You see what is happening at the Gifford, the Gifford agric mechanization lands. So
rhetoric, and
no, it's not mere rhetoric. When a president says that he's not going to accept that, you heard Akufo-Addo defending Brachampo over the snake purchase. If organized labor had not joined me and shut down this country, the 16 million profit that SNIT declared a few weeks ago will have gone into the pockets of Brachampo, one man. It wouldn't have come to all of us. So I am glad that state capture is going to end. The president has said, look, the blueprint is get the politicians off state assets. They should not be allowed to purchase, to engage in any transaction relating to public assets. They should stay off. I am also glad that the president is saying that, look, I'm going to implement oral operation, recover all loot. Now, when you are recovering loot, you cannot be engaged in the looting. And the president has said that charity will begin at home. He is going to make sure that he starts with his own appointees. So the president has put in place the right blueprint. He's put in the manifesto the right policies and legal propositions that will ensure that we do not become a plutocracy again, as we saw under the Akufo-Addo Bawumia presidency.
Very well. We are wrapping up, but just in 60 seconds, two quick things. One of the issues going into this election was on the economy, and one of the things that President Mahama is trying to do in the first 120 days is to scrap a number of taxes. Remember, the economy is in tatters. We are under an IMF program. We are having huge debt as a country. If you scrap all these taxes in 120 days, how are we going to plug in the revenue leakages? And what do you also see as the greatest threat to NDC as a government in waiting? Just in 60 seconds.
Read my lips. These taxes are going to go. And we thank the Ghanaian people for giving us a super majority, more than 2/3.
Isn't it overly ambitious?
So we have no excuse. E-levy will go, betting tax will go, COVID levy will go, the emissions tax will go, the COVID levy will go. So I am glad that all of these taxes are going to go. We are determined to cut expenditure. President Mahama says he's going to appoint the leanest government. Within 14 days after his swearing in, he will announce the leanest government ever, no more than 60 ministers. He is going to also rationalize and realign the entire government machinery. There's too much duplicity, wastage. Read the Auditor General's report. So the monies we will lose from these obnoxious taxes, which by the way is leading to the excruciating hardship, suffocating the Ghanaian people, we are going to make amends by the savings that we will be able to make from all of these lean government machinery we are going to put together. Then don't forget that President Mahama has also, if you go through his economic policies, put out very bold interventions like the 24-hour economy, industrialization, that is going to increase productivity. And so you are going to see that revenues will go up. Once revenues go up, the shortfalls from these taxes, and really we've done the analysis. I mean, you look at e-levy, you look at COVID levy, I mean, you're not making much. They are nuisance taxes. And so I am clear in my mind that these taxes can go, and President Mahama's economic vision remains the best for our country.
That's Member of Parliament for the people of Northern, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa. You have him in the seat, time will never be enough. But thank you so much, Honorable, for joining us tonight on Point Blank on Eyewitness News. It's a pleasure. And that's our show for today. My name is Nee Lati. I did this with Enu Safu. Many thanks indeed for your company. The show returns tomorrow at 5:30 GMT. Good evening.